to look into having representation at, because apart from SIGGRAPH, which is in America every year, it is the leading international event for our industry. And by our industry, I mean anything to do with digital imaging, whether it's games or animation or visual effects. And it brings together, you know, wonderful speakers from all over the world. People like Adam Valdez will come to enjoy the event, to share their knowledge, to listen to speakers from academia and from other branches of this sector, but mainly because of the quality of the students. The reason everybody is attracted to this not particularly exciting city in Germany is because it is an educational hub. And that's really the kind of central point of my presentation this morning. There are many of you in the room who have many, many years of experience building up associations through your studios, your institutions, to create an educational environment which is going to benefit the entire sector here in India. But internationally, the one thing that exists which has yet to really mature here is one single platform that all of these entities can come together to discuss where we're going, where the future roadmap is. And for me, this particular event, FMX, is the place and the event I would never miss under any circumstances. Apart from maybe family reasons, I would always be at this event, because you are exposed to such inspiring work, possible networking, interaction between schools and industry, and particularly, and this is my next point, between the leading schools who have come together to create a mutually enmeshed program of study, which I think is the way forward. The landscape here is very different, apart from the vast, enormous scale of it, and the millions of students who come out every year, which is of course the great strength of India. The issue of collaboration is still, it's early days still. And I wanted to particularly talk about these two schools, the Film Academy School in Stuttgart and the Gobelin School in Paris, because what we have here is a relationship that has been built over decades. And the strength of the relationship is, from these programs, which are in no ways identical, the schools offer possibilities of student exchanges. So a student like one of these three who created this film, who are the absolutely most technically proficient in the world, can also take 1 year or 1 semester, or however they want to organize it, at the animation school, where they will learn from the best animation teachers in the world. And this has created these unique individuals. And when we in the international industry talk about European talent, it's these kind of individuals we're talking about. We're not talking about hundreds of students from hundreds of schools. We're talking about maybe a handful, maybe 12 or 15 from the very top level of these leading institutions. But any one of those individuals can be the person that will kickstart your project, and particularly in the area of design. And one of the reasons I wanted to show this film, Loom, is because under any other circumstances, this could just be a visual effects demo piece. And what Adam was referring to earlier, I think, is particularly pertinent. What they've done is they've taken something which showcases their extraordinary technical abilities, but they've also added a dimension of storytelling to it. And in the end, this is what we are about. We are all storytellers, no matter which sector of the industry we come from. And when students ask me, as they do regularly, what is it that we in the industry look for in their work, it's that ability to add something, add value, to plus whatever examples of their technique that they are showing us with this other element, this creative element. And I hear, from many people from many other areas of the industry here, a lot about storytelling and a lot about coming up with IP ideas. And I'm looking at all my friends, because I know we've had this conversation so many times. We could be having this presentation in the cafe. But there's a lot of talk about storytelling and content coming from India, with all these amazing stories that are here to be seized upon. But I think the other side of it is, when you look at a piece of student work, what story is that telling that will showcase their technical abilities? And I think that's a very different way of looking at the process. So the next thing I'm going to show you is another film from this same school, which I think is a near perfect example of the sort of thing I'm talking about. It's another award-winning film. In fact, at SIGGRAPH, this was a runner-up for the Best in Show. So 2 graduate films from the same school won out over the entire world of animation studies. So this one is called Mobile. This is made in a very different way to the previous one. It has one director, very, very talented artist called Verena Fels, and she completed 4 years at this school. And as her graduation project, she designed, directed the animation, developed the storyline, but she did not create all the animation. The animation was supported by students from the 2nd and 3rd years. So she worked in a very professional environment to create this film. So this is a group project, but the only person who is evaluated on the basis of this project for their graduation is the director. So this is Mobile. storytelling, and it may not have an elaborate plot in the sort of wider context of storytelling, but what I look for as a judge, and I'm not talking about specifically looking for studio-related artists at this point, but at the many film festivals that I sit on awards juries, this is the type of film that we look for in terms of wonderful storytelling. And it almost invariably is about a small group of characters in a confined area. And what I often see coming from elsewhere, including from India, are very complex narrative stories with very, very complicated plots. And I've just sat through 27 films all like that. And what I'm missing is, what is the theme of the story? And in this one, the theme is so clear and so transparent and so beautifully articulated that for me, that's a wholly successful film. So I'm showing it really as an example of sort of excellence. It's very difficult with complex narratives, particularly in student work, to achieve the level of sophistication that is going to win you international acclaim. It's very, very hard to do that. If we're looking for future talent anywhere, who are going to be the directors and they're going to be the creative leaders for all of our environments, it's really this kind of storytelling I think it's going to come from. I mean, this is a personal view, but it's a view based on, you know, many, many years of seeing many examples of very fine work. So the next film I'm going to show you is from a different school, a different place, but I'm going to come back to the Film Academy because I think it is, you know, an excellent resource for many of the topics I'm talking about. This film is from France, from the Gobelins School in Paris, which is, I've talked about many, many times and shown many of the films in public here. The Gobelins is a completely different institution in that it is wholly focused on creating animators. They are not necessarily creating directors. Their intention isn't to provide people of the highest level of technical ability from either CG knowledge or, you know, stop motion or whatever area they choose to specialize in. It's all about character animation, and this is why all of the studios internationally flock to this school. But the reason I'm using it as a case study today is the success of this one institution is a very big part of the success of the latest feature film to come out of France, which has been enormously popular and successful, and I think is a good object lesson. So I'm going to show this film, which was the best film from this year's batch. It was completed in June. And this is a film I would not myself look at necessarily for animation quality or storytelling, although I think it has both in abundance. But for me, the real strength of this film is design. So when I'm talking about creativity in this sense, I'm really talking about very inspiring look development. Can we turn the sound up a little, please? Thank you.